Hello, Mr. Brown here, your science teacher. I make videos for students of all ages. So today, gather the whole family and let's explore the science of Africa. Mr. Brown, you don't know nothing about Africa. You ain't ever been there. Yeah, it's true. I've never been to Africa. But I've read piles of books, and I probably know more about Africa than most Africans know about Africa. So let's get into this today. From space, you can see that the continent of Africa is pretty big. All right, well, how big is it? Well, if we were to do a size comparison with the United States of America, you can see that Africa's pretty big. In fact, you could probably fit the United States, India, and China all inside Africa and still have room to spare. In fact, from the top in Morocco all the way to the bottom in South Africa is a distance of 5,000 miles. Okay, Africa, it's big. Speaking of big, the largest river in Africa is the River Nile, traveling for over 4,000 miles across the continent. And as rivers approach the ocean, they slow down and they release their sediment, their pebbles, dirt, and mud. It forms a triangular fan-like pattern called a delta. And the Nile River is no different. It has a delta out into the ocean. Here's a picture of the Nile River Delta at night from space. It's fairly lit up. That is the city of Cairo, Egypt. Now, another interesting delta is the Okavango Delta in Botswana, Africa. Just like every other delta, it slows down, drops its sediment in a triangular fan-shaped pattern, except this one doesn't flow into the ocean. It flows into the desert and just disappears and evaporates. So that's kind of interesting. Speaking of deserts, the largest desert in the world is in northern Africa. The Sahara Desert is basically just sand. There's no roads there. If you built a road, it would just be covered by sand within a few days. So get yourself a camel and explore. During World War II, the armies of the Axis and Allies fought over Africa in countries like Egypt, Libya, and Algeria. Even after 75 years, you can still go out in the desert and see rusting pieces of military equipment, even today. Africa is home to many different cultures, one of them the Zulu tribe, who has managed to hold on to their traditions for thousands of years. And I like their colorful handmade costumes here. But not all Africans live in villages. Many Africans live in modern cities, the most modern of which is Cape Town, South Africa. But humans have been living in South Africa for a long time. Recently, we did some DNA tests of a tribe called the San people, and turns out they have the world's oldest population. We know this from their DNA, dating back over 100,000 years. In fact, if you go back far enough in history, Africa is the birthplace of humanity. And you can see how over the thousands of years, humanity has spread out from its original birthplace in Africa. Moving on to Tanzania, the Serengeti Plain. All those little spots you see, those are animals on the move, herds of wildebeest, thousands of them, millions of them, doing their yearly migration. We also will see zebras with their distinctive black and white referee uniforms. I wonder why they wear that. Oh, that's to confuse predators or maybe even confuse insects. We'll also see some Thompson's gazelles hopping around. But with all this meat on the move, I would expect to see carnivores nearby, and they are. Here we see some baby cheetahs learning how to hunt, and here we see a lion and his friend the wildebeest. That wildebeest name is Lunch. Here we have hyenas. They are also predators of the Serengeti, and they've invited this zebra here to lunch, and the zebra says, I don't see Lunch anywhere. Oh, maybe it's me. Yeah, but You won't find winter, spring, summer, and fall on the Serengeti. They basically have two seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. Now, even though you're by the equator, it gets pretty chilly if you're soaking wet from the rain, right? And once the rains are done, it turns the Serengeti into miles and miles of beautiful, delicious grassland for all of those herbivores to eat. But you better get eaten soon because the dry season is on its way, where everything dries up and there's not much water. You can see that everyone needs to drink this limited amount of water. Real close to the Serengeti is the Ngorongoro crater, which has probably the densest concentration of life in Africa. It's really quite an amazing place. Next up, we are headed to the country of Mali. And I see a town there called Timbuktu. That's not real, is it? I've heard that before. Oh, I'm going to Timbuktu. Well, yeah, it's real. Here's a picture of it, right? All right. In northern Africa is a country called Tunisia, where the very first Star Wars movies were filmed way back in 1976. And sure enough, they're still there. The props are still in the desert. And you can go out there and look at them if you want. And tourists will come and take photos in front of some of these props that are still there. Okay, so separating Africa from Europe is a small little body of water called the Straits of Gibraltar. In fact, the two continents are so close, you can see it right over the water. Yep, there's Europe, just right over there. Okay, so the Great Pyramids of Giza are found in Egypt, and they are world famous. You are not allowed to climb them. That is illegal, except this kid did and took a picture here. This guy was arrested shortly after this photo was taken. But Egypt's not the only place for pyramids. Sudan also has many ancient pyramids. They're a little smaller and more adorable, but yeah, they got lots of pyramids there. Here's a picture of what it may have looked like in ancient Sudan with their cute little pyramids. Moving down the road to Zambia, we have Victoria Falls, an impressive waterfalls in Africa. Here we see it from a helicopter point of view, and it almost looks as though the earth is split open and is forming a giant crack in the earth. And the reason that is because it's true. Africa is splitting in two. The Great African Rift Valley is slowly tearing the continent into two pieces. If you were to come back several million years in the future, you'll see that Africa will eventually rip into two pieces. Before that happens, I want you to visit the highest point in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. Here we can see it from the giraffe's point of view. Standing at 19,000 feet tall, Mount Kilimanjaro attracts tens of thousands of hikers each year. When you get to the top, it's pretty cold. Bring a jacket, and this is a little sign that you get to read when you reach the top. Over on the other coast, we have the Skeleton Coast of Namibia. Why is it called the Skeleton Coast? Well, it's because the desert goes right up to the edge of the ocean, and if you shipwreck here, it's bad news. Your ship is going to stay there pretty much forever. You can see these rusting ships. Ooh, that guy's been there for quite a while. And even some modern ships still get stuck there. The Skeleton Coast. Now, for a long time, if you wanted to trade between Asia and Europe, you had to go all the way around Africa. But in 1869, they decided, hey, let's dig the Suez Canal and make that trip a lot shorter. And it's still there today. It's basically a ditch of water that you can connect from Asia to Europe very easily. That's an aircraft carrier you see right there. Now, you got to be careful and pay attention when you're navigating this. You don't want to get stuck kind of sideways like this guy did a while back and clogged up the shipping for weeks. Off the coast of Africa is the island nation of Madagascar. Madagascar broke off from the rest of Africa over 50 million years ago. It's so far out in the ocean, you can't see it from the African mainland. And Madagascar is right in the middle of many trade routes from Asia to Europe that go right past Madagascar, which makes it a great place to be a pirate. Yeah, actually, pirates do exist in the modern day. Here you see a couple of these guys. And you want to watch out for these guys. In fact, Tom Hanks made a movie about these African pirates called Captain Phillips a couple of years back. But getting back to Madagascar, since it broke away from Africa over 50 million years ago, it has evolved some pretty interesting plants and animals like the baobab tree, these ring-tailed lemurs, sifacas, I'm not even sure what these guys are, fossas, I don't even know what these guys are, yellow wasps. All right, things are starting to get dangerous. Hissing cockroaches, are you kidding me? I'm starting to lose interest. Tarantulas? Okay, this island is giant centipedes. All right, I'm starting to get a little freaked out here. Who's this guy? All right, Madagascar. Okay, that's it. I'm not going. Forget it. But thank you for joining me today on the Science of Africa. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.